Здравствуйте, Namaskar. Welcome to our weekly meet in commemoration of the Indo-Russian friendship and in celebration of the 28th anniversary of the strategic privileged partnership between the two countries. We are discussing on a very famous personality, Gerasim Stepanovich Lebedev. He was forced to leave India in the year 1797, and he was the pioneer Russian Indologist. We have discussed that he was the founder of the theater for the Indian people, by the Indian people, at the soil of India, and actors and actresses were also Indian. However, because of the typical colonial clique and colonial methods, he was not allowed to mix with the people because they were afraid of him, and he was forced to leave India the same year, in the year 1797, in the month of December. He left India. He wanted to go to England by a British ship because he was not supposed to go by any other way. He was forced to travel by the ship called Lord Tarlow. However, on the ship itself, he was beaten up by the British officers of the ship, and he was thinking how to get relief from them. He had to get down when the ship reached Cape Town, the South Africa. He had to get down over there. He stayed there for a few days, and there also he presented four concerts as a wonderful musician. Then, again in the month of January, February, he started leaving Cape Town and he reached England after that through the ship called Saint. It was a ship by which he reached the island Saint Helena. And there, Saint Helena, he also presented concerts. He earned some money, and from there he went to England. And there he stayed first in a street named Wood Street. The people of Kolkata also know that we have a street in Kolkata also as named as Wood Street. He stayed over there, and he stayed there for 2 years. And there he also tried to meet the persons whom he requested earlier from India itself, the Russian envoy in England, Mr. Vorontsov, and his friend, Mr. Smirnov, who was the priest in the Russian embassy. He tried to meet them and he met them. Earlier, when he was in Calcutta, he wrote to them that he wanted to do some business. He has contacts with the tradesmen in India and he will get all the support from them. Only he wanted a permit to allow him for the trade itself. However, he didn't receive the permit, so he couldn't do any export business. He came to England, he stayed there for 2 years, and there itself he wrote a book on the grammar of the Indian, the pure and the mixed Indian, East Indian dialects. And this was a very famous because before that, James Halhead also wrote a grammar book for learning Indian languages, but Lebedev's grammar book became so popular that it was taken by the Britishers also by his own people. He appealed there through the Russian embassy to the Tsar of Russia, to the Emperor of Russia, so that he can go back to his own country. He came back to his country in the year 1801. He went straight to St. Petersburg and he met Tsar. He appealed to him that the knowledge what he acquired in India, with that he can help his own countrymen. Because he knew by this time, as we discussed earlier, Bengali, Sanskrit, Hindustani, and some other, and even the Malabar language means the Tamil language. So he wanted to serve his own country. However, there were no such people to judge his knowledge. And though Tsar, the Alexander the First recommended him for a post in the Academy of Science and the Academy, but he was not allowed to do that. He was not given that post. He had to apply again to Tsar, and the Tsar, understanding the difficulties, gave a decree in the year of 1802 in the month of February to give him a position in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He was given that post and he served the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as the Orientalogist. And there, by when he was there, after this book, what he wrote, what he showed to the Tsar himself, and then the Tsar appreciated, and Tsar gave him the permission to go with other books also. He then planned to write a book about the experience what he has with the knowledge of the Indian customs and the rituals of the Indian customs. And in the year 1805, he wrote a very interesting book called An Impartial Review of the Systems of East Indian Brahmins, their sacred rites, and people's customs. And this book was so interesting to the people of Russia, and that also interested they made interest in the other countries like in France and Germany, and immediately the book was translated by the next year. And this book had 5 parts. This money was given to him by the Tsar himself, and he wrote this book in in 3 parts. I mean, in 3 parts, and in these 3 parts, these were the fascinating description about the creation of the world, then about the Hindu concept of the gods and their symbol of Trinity in the Indian religion, in the Hindu religion, like Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, like the Christian Trinity. He also did the comparative study for that. He devoted the second chapter for the book on the natures of India, about the seasons of India, and about the systems, origins, and the symbols of the Indian months and seasons also. In the third section, he wrote about the sacred rites of the Brahmins, and also about the caste system, about the temples of India, about the architectures of the temples of India, about the religious festivals, and about the celebrations. And these all together made him very famous in his own country. And when he first well informed, his book made the information to the people of Russia and to the people who were studying the Russian as the Russian about the Indology, and these were like the encyclopedia to them. And he also wrote books on the arithmetic system of the East Indian style. And in this book he mentioned about the ancient type of Indian calculations like Kora, Gonda, Pon, and also the Namta. The Namta he was making in the rhymes also, which was popular in Bengal for a long time, in India for a long time. He also translated them into Russian for the general public. He was the man, he was admired during his lifetime more, but after that he was also admired after his death also. He was born in the year 1749 and he expired in the year of 1817, the 100 years before the October Revolution. His books were very popular, and when he passed away, on the tombstone an epitaph was written, and that was done by his own wife, and there she wrote that he, the first among the Russian sons of Russia, who went to the Indian and he went to India and learned about the manners and customs and brought to Russia their languages also. And this epitaph is kept in the Museum of St. Petersburg till this date. He wrote the letter to the Tsar Alexander about the provisions given to him, but unfortunately which were not given to him, but at the cost of his own money. Of course he got some money from the Tsar. He made the first printing house in St. Petersburg, that means in outside India, where one could get the things printed in Sanskrit and in Bengali also. And that was the first of its kind in St. Petersburg. After that, in Germany or in other places, such printing press came into the existence. He wrote the books of grammar. Then the books which were, he made some manuscripts were ready for him, but unfortunately he could not publish them. Those were the books on grammar, on the conversation, on the proverb and idioms of India, and also one could trace it that he also translated portions of Mad Bhagavad Gita and also Mahamudgar, which was the philosophical work of Shankara. He was so popular after his death that the Russian Orientologist or the Indologist of Russia, they also took support from his works, and nowadays in St. Petersburg or in other places, in tribute to him, Many seminars, many programs are being organized daily almost. And in Kolkata also, we know that we have a street which was made as the Gerasim Lebedev Sharoni or the Gerasim Lebedev Street. Earlier, the street was named as the Cathedral Road in front of the Robindra Sadan and Academy of Fine Arts. Also, in Calcutta, we have a memorial plaque in tribute to Gerasim Stepanovich Lebedev, which was erected in the year 2009. And the same year in Yaroslav, and a conference of India and Russia took place in tribute to Gerasim Lebedev. It was entitled as Gerasim Lebedev and His Time. The notorious British rulers who actually made him leave the country, made him leave India, they exist no more. They were the agents of British imperialism. They were the cruel rulers of imperialism, colonial powers in India. Nobody knows about their name, nobody remembers them. But Gerasim Stepanovich Lebedev is remembered by the people in India, in Russia, and elsewhere also. And we know that the former education minister of India, Pratap Chandra Chandra, he wrote a novel on him, and then persons like Arun Shannal of Bengal and persons like Hayat Mahmud of Bangladesh, they made wonderful work on Gerasim Stepanovich Lebedev. The theatre activists like Torun Roy, who had the theatre called Theatre Center, they also did the play named Lebedev. And also after that, the Gobordanga Noksha group, the Uthan theatre group, and the Meghdut group, who made the theatre play like Rongaloy, they had the characters of Gerasim Stepanovich Lebedev. The IPTA group and the newspapers, they also wrote many times about Gerasim Stepanovich Lebedev and his contribution for the Indian culture. He is remembered, he will be remembered forever in the hearts of the millions of Indians and of the Russians too, definitely, because he was, as I said before, he was like a comet in the sky, and that comet is bright, so bright that it is visible from the land of India and Russia. We pay our tribute to Gerasim Stepanovich Lebedev, and this is our final tribute to him on this lecture series, and we believe that we will be continue this series if you wish. So then, till then, we want to say you goodbye, Dasvedanya, and we say Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you all for the 2021, and so that we believe that the next year will be peaceful and will be prosperous to you, and will be happiness, will bring the glorious achievements in your lives. Thank you very much for being with us.